Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a seriously amazing toolkit for your daily life, straight from the book of Proverbs in the biblical text. Think of this like a masterclass on how to navigate growing up, making awesome choices, and just being a great person. Let's get right into it. So, have you ever wished you had a cheat sheet? You know, a guide for making the best choices at school, at home, or when you're hanging out with your friends? I definitely have. Sometimes figuring out the right thing to do is just tricky. But what if I told you that you already have an incredible guide? The biblical text is literally packed with secrets to living a wise and wonderful life. Okay, let's take a quick look at our wisdom checklist from Proverbs chapter 22. We're going to hit 5 big ones today: opening the biblical text, protecting the needy, choosing friends wisely, keeping promises and boundaries, and finally, practicing your skills. All right, starting off with number 1, opening the biblical text and paying attention to wisdom. Now, the very first thing our text tells us is to pay close attention. It says to turn your ear to the sayings of the wise. And what's super interesting here is the number 30. The text actually points out 30 specific sayings of counsel and knowledge designed just for you. It's not some random list, it's a very intentional collection of 30 powerful pieces of advice to keep ready on your lips and in your heart. But why do we even need this wisdom in the first place? Well, these 30 sayings are there to teach you honesty, how to always speak the truth, and most importantly, how to put your trust completely in Him, because He knows exactly what is best for us. When we follow this wisdom, we can bring back truthful reports to everyone we interact with and just live a life really anchored in trust. Moving right along to number 2 on our checklist, protecting the needy and having a heart for others. You see, wisdom isn't just about making yourself better, it's all about how you treat the people around you. There's this incredibly powerful quote from the text that says, "Do not exploit the poor because they are poor, and do not crush the needy in court." It's a huge reminder to always treat everyone fairly, especially anyone who might have less than us or who is going through a really tough time. To not exploit someone basically means you never take unfair advantage of them. Whether you're on the playground or sitting in class, this is your call to stand up for people, not tear them down. And here is the absolute best reason why we have to protect the needy. It's because He cares for them deeply. The text promises that the Lord will defend them and that He will take up their case. So, when you stand up for someone who needs a little help, you are doing exactly what He does. He's the ultimate defender, and we get to follow His lead. Next up is number 3, choosing friends wisely, or what I like to call the friendship filter. This rule is absolutely crucial, especially at school. The text paints a crystal clear picture of why we need to be really careful with who we hang out with. Just look at the difference between a calm friend and a hot-tempered person. A hot-tempered person is someone who just blows up and gets angry over the tiniest little things. And the biblical text explicitly warns us not to make friends or associate with someone who is easily angered. Think about it for a second. Have you ever picked up a bad habit from a friend? Like maybe you started saying a silly word they use all the time, or you started rolling your eyes just because they do it. If you're constantly hanging around someone who is always blowing their top, you might just learn their ways. The text says you could get yourself ensnared or trapped in their bad behavior. It's kind of like catching a cold, but instead of a cough, you catch a bad attitude. So definitely choose friends who bring out the absolute best in you. All right, moving on to number 4, keeping promises and boundaries and respecting others. So our next set of tools is all about the deals we make and respecting what belongs to someone else. There's this fancy term used in the text, security for debts. The text warns against shaking hands in pledge or putting up security for debts. But what does that actually mean for you? Well, it's basically like promising to trade away your absolute favorite toy if you can't keep a deal or a bet you made with a friend. It's a huge, huge risk. The text, playfully, but honestly, very seriously, warns that if you make a bad promise and you can't pay it back, your very bed could be snatched right from under you. Literally. Imagine making such a silly promise that you lose the place where you sleep at night. The lesson here is super simple. Be very, very careful about the promises you make. And whatever you do, don't make deals you can't keep. We're also told in this section not to move an ancient boundary stone. Back in the day, a boundary stone was this big, heavy marker showing exactly where someone's yard began and ended. In everyday life, this basically means respecting the lines of what belongs to others. It's just like respecting your sibling's side of the bedroom. You don't cross the line and take what isn't yours. Respecting boundaries keeps the peace, for sure. And finally, we've reached number 5, practicing your skills and the power of hard work. Let's grab this last tool from our toolbox, which shows us exactly what happens when you work really, really hard. Check out these steps to success. Step 1, practice your skill. Step 2, get really good at your work. And step 3, serve before kings. Seriously, whether it's your schoolwork, practicing a sport, playing an instrument, or even just doing your chores around the house, if you practice and become highly skilled at what you do, the text says you won't just serve low-ranking officials, you will serve before kings. Hard work opens doors to some truly amazing opportunities. So as we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to think about these amazing tools he has given us in the biblical text. We've unlocked tools for listening to wise advice, protecting others, choosing great friends, keeping boundaries, and working hard. So I have to ask, which one are you going to put into practice first today? Are you going to be a better friend? Will you practice your favorite skill? The choice is entirely up to you. Thanks so much for joining me to open up this amazing toolbox.